So we are here with Yang, who is the Chief Data Scientist at Siemens, and with Ling, who is a research scientist at Google DeepMind. And we're going to learn a little bit more about what it is working in such companies that have a really good and deep data-driven development. So the first question is a standard one. How did you begin in the area, and what makes you love data science? Who wants to go first?
Okay, I can start very simply. So I am data science actually very long. I started data science at a university at a time when it wasn't called data science. So I made my master in data science 1989, so I'm a very old guy. And actually,
I would say you made your masters when I was born.
Yes, exactly. And actually, I started at first with some manufacturing optimization tasks. But after this, I stepped out of data science for a very, very long time. I came back into data science approximately 7 or 8 years ago and found out that a lot of things have changed. There was deep learning, reinforcement learning, stuff and this. Like, no, I was asking, reinforcement what? So actually, I had to go back to university and learn this stuff from the scratch. Although I found out that there's not too much around in the local universities when I was, so I took remote trainings or remote studies at Stanford or at Udacity and organizations like this one to learn about these new technologies. And finally,
people often think that data science is so young, but a lot of the things we use today kind of come from artificial intelligence and not like 30 or 40 years old algorithms.
Yes, most of the things you use today, or a lot of things at least you use today, is still 30, 40, 50 years old. Even if you go in domains like deep learning, you find out you have learned about this 20, 30 years ago. You didn't have the compute power and you did not have this high advanced architectures, you didn't have special GPUs, TPUs in the Google case, right? So, but anyway, so if you got once in this domain, it's not that hard to come back. Anyway, so I think one of the more harder things is to get into the big data domain, to learn everything on cloud-based technologies and link all these new data science technologies together with the big data technology. That's a much more challenge. That's something what is a challenge for today's data scientists more and more. So if they go only in the math domain, and I know all these algorithms, so they come to a company and find out, wow, so we have to deal with several terabytes of data or petabytes data, something like this, and I don't know how to behave or move around in this world. And that's, I think, the biggest challenge today.
Yeah. So, how about you?
From my background was I finished my bachelor's degree, and I was working back then on machine translation. And on those days, there was deep learning, and there was deep learning, but not applied to translation. We used to use these phrase-based statistical systems where everything was much more heuristic-based. And even that worked really well, and I saw that there was a lot of potential in these kind of technologies because, if you can translate everything automatically, you could help all these internationalization problems that people have these days. So that got me interested in AI in general. Then I decided to do a PhD in CMU and ISD, where at some point during my PhD, I decided to work on deep learning. What I found super interesting were all these applications that came up during the last 5 years. If you think about how people can now generate images, this is something that if you told someone 5 years ago, you were like, you are probably crazy. And all these innovations came very quickly because of some key components that people developed over the last few years. So, GPUs are one big thing that really helped people really scale up the kind of things that you can do with these kind of applications. And one of the things that I think because DeepMind is generally looking for very long-term applications of machine learning, so we are not that concerned about immediate returns. That's why most of the things we do, we try to do something that we can see, okay, 10 years from now, what is the world going to be like? Can we have machines that will automatically draw images for us from descriptions, for instance? Can we have machines that will do all the arrangements for us, like I want to go somewhere and do this and this, I'll just write it down and the system will do it for me. And all these are like really challenging methods that's both in terms of like hardware and in terms of like the methodology that you want to apply. Thinking about what could happen in 10 years is what I feel that's really exciting when you are working on this field.
So what you will think could happen in data science in 5 to 10 years? Where do you think we might go?
So I think it's really it will go the direction the systems will really work somehow more autonomously. If you have today a problem, you still formalize the problem into code like you did 20, 30 years ago. You use Python code and things like this. And I think the direction will go more in that topic that the systems will either get their problem specification more in a human way instead of programming, and they will much more be able to find the right path how to solve the problem themselves.
So a more automatized process in the process are a little bit repetitive and more creative work in the side of data scientists.
Yes.
So I think that over the next 5-10 years, so right now I think we have explored most of the trivial things that deep learning can do for us, but there's still a lot of things that we are expecting that it can. And I think that these kind of technologies, there's still a very vast array of applications that they can be applied, just that they require much more thinking about how to approach the problem. Because clearly we have not exhausted all the kinds of tasks that these kind of methods can help us perform. It's just that the easy tasks that we can do have most of these have been explored. But the technology itself is still very powerful. It's just that we need to learn how to use it. And I think that's what will happen in the next 10 years, which can lead to very interesting applications.
So both of you are in very good companies with very good structure. What piece of advice you would give to someone that's starting out the area and maybe has a little bit of fear, doesn't know exactly what to do? What piece of advice could you give to someone starting?
What an easy question, so my prediction is bad as everybody else wants, but of course, so I would tend to say to somebody not to be too specific. Of course, get a good foundation of learning how data science work, of course, but immediately get a bridge to the domain area, so to the big data domain first. Then also look around what applications are out there in the world and how data science could help to solve these problems. So not to stick only with one topic, not to stick only I'm a brilliant 3 times PhD on mathematics and this one, but really look across the whole area. How can I help? What is interesting?
Understand the environment.
And understand the environment, understand the domains.
Okay. How about
you? My main advice is to be ambitious about what you can do. I think that if you are starting now, of course, you cannot just try to solve all the problems in the world. You need to understand, is this solvable or not? But for something that you think that you can solve, do whatever it takes to get there. So think about, okay, what are the things that would be really useful, but people have not achieved yet? What are the things that in your life that you feel like, okay, if I had some way to solve this automatically, I could increase my productivity exponentially. The other thing is, there's a boundary between being realistic and being creative. So a lot of things that so as you spend more time working on machine learning, you'll start getting a grasp of, is this a crazy idea, or this is a crazy idea that might actually work. That's something that comes with experience. So I think in the beginning you'll stumble upon a lot of problems. That some of them are too easy that you solve it, but it's not interesting. But some of them are too hard and you spend a lot of time trying to solve it. But
it's
what you
always,
have, yeah,
it's always good to never stop dreaming.
Yeah, but the real accomplishments are that one problem that people would think that no one can solve it, but you, because you are an expert on this area, you know, okay, I can solve it, and this is the way to solve it.
I can do with attitude.
Think a little bit out of the box. Don't follow the mainstream. So it was a few years ago. Everybody said neural networks are so much from old-fashioned. So nobody would use it. We use support vector machines, all this stuff, and this will solve all our problems. Look around now. What happened? The world got changed completely, and it's because of maybe 3 guys or 4 guys who said, "Oh, we want to get back in this domain and do it completely new from the scratch." Because we have some beautiful new ideas. And the mainstream was running completely the other way.
Yes. So to finish our small interview, I'm going to leave you with 2 questions that the Manuela and Elizabeth left to you from the last interview. And you can answer either one or both. And I'm going to ask you to leave 2 questions for the next interviews. So Elizabeth asked you, if you could change something in your company, what would it be? It's quite an interesting question.
Yeah.
I'll leave the first answer to him.
Okay.
I have to think about
maybe you have more power to change things than I do. But I think that there's a lot of research that people think that's interesting, but are not applied directly. So we do a lot of very interesting research, but there are not that many applications.
Interesting, but not useful.
It's not useful. It's just people. It's a little different because most of the research is useful. I think it's just that from an interesting idea to an application, there's like a very wide gap. So I think that the problem with researchers is that they think about interesting ideas. The problem with entrepreneurs is that they think about very good applications and they don't really connect that well.
You would love to bridge the gap between.
Well, I'm not going to do it, but it's just that I'm just saying that.
It would be a great thing to bridge the gap between.
There should be a compromise between what's a great idea and what's a great application. And in a lot of cases this happens. It's just that I think there should be more of this kind of thinking.
That's quite a great idea. So.
It's very close to what I'm thinking right now. It's something bridge more the gap between the research and the application. So there's a lot of good research inside Siemens, no doubt about this. There are AI labs, there are other facilities which look into direction what has been developed newly, and the path to practice to the application is very, very slow actually. So some of the topics, when everybody reads it on a new paper, we need it. So, but there are also beautiful other ideas which could be brought into practice, and it's sometimes a little hard to take this path if you have a brilliant idea, because you need some support also from the practice, because the research cannot solve everything. So there's usually some kind of regular factor. We usually say it's if you have one part research, you need 5 parts of implementation to practice, at least from the time and the money. And the 5 parts have to be done somehow by the business and by the practice. And this, to find these teams, is not easy sometimes.
And to find someone who can effectively bridge the gap between those teams sometimes.
Yeah.
sometimes the implementation gets completely scared or doesn't understand research and it's like, what the hell are you doing? and
Possibly something like internal startups would be a right solution, something like this. So this sometimes works. I think it's a path Siemens is now starting on. It's not brilliantly spread around everywhere, but they're trying to go this path with several small startups inside the company. And you have to have both opportunities. You need somehow the resources of the company, but you need to protect them somehow from the old-fashioned business a little bit. Otherwise, the old-fashioned business will eat up the startup. And that's important.
Speaking about old-fashioned business, Manuela left you the question. How often do you challenge the status quo within your company, and what do you challenge the most? She was telling that the status quo is like stand-up meetings in the beginning of the day and meetings in together. How often do you challenge if it's really needed? Why are we doing this? And what do you challenge?
So the only constant should be change. I challenge this every day actually. So I like things like lately have been built inside Siemens in the company. For example, there are newly built ideas like phasing out the AI labs to co-working spaces or things like this. So what's something like previously research was something closed in a closed group, only in a closed environment and everything, and now, for example, Siemens pulls out certain researchers into a co-working space where they can interact with other startups, with other researchers, and all this stuff is very nice. And I think this results from questioning your daily work. You have to somehow change. If you see that, what I mentioned before, that research is not easy to bring to the praxis, or at least has to overcome some hurdles. So ideas like this, work with startups and bring the startup possibly back in, is a very good idea. And that's only because you have to question every day, is it the right way?
Siemens in itself is trying to challenge the status quo.
Sure.
How about you?
Well, so for me, this is kind of my job. We are not tied to any kind of product, so it's not like we have to say, okay, I improved our system like this much. So every day, my goal is to see, okay, so there are these ideas. What can I improve on, or what are these ideas that I think I can challenge and make improvements afterwards? I think that from a pure research perspective, our goal is to essentially understand what are the main trends of research and see, okay, what is wrong with this, because nothing is perfect in its world, and it's very difficult to actually claim that something is perfect. And if you want to produce something better, the first step is always to challenge what's there. I mean, because we are a research company, I think most of the people, they have this kind of mentality.
They're used to challenge the status quo every day.
I mean, it's kind of what research is. You see, okay, what is there, and you see what can you do better. There's a lot of criticism that you have to be able to do to want to be able to build a better system.
Okay, great. So, as you know, I've answered the questions that the girls left. It's your time to leave a question. There are no holds barred for the people that come on the next interview.
Mm-hmm.
Ask anything you would like. Something like, I really would like a person that works in data science to answer this.
I think I need a few minutes. Just one.
Yes, okay, so possibly one question. It's not necessarily related to data science. So how do you see the future of work? So I see a huge trend, for example, in Germany, that the working tens of years for a company doesn't work anymore. So it's exactly opposite side. There are a lot of freelancers, meanwhile, working for companies, working at the same time for different companies, sometimes crowded together. something like this. Do you see the future of work that we again have large companies which with a huge number of employees, or is it something much more flexible where you hire the right guys for a certain time period and again work with a different team for the next project or something like this? Is it more freelancing, more co-working possibly with?
Quite an interesting question, I would say.
So I guess I will just pose a simple question. Do you
Yes.
think that deep learning is just a trend that will pass in a few years, or do you think it's here to stay like forever?
And maybe asking them why and why not, or why not.
Yeah.
Yes.
So, thank you very much to both. It was great having you here in the SPT Day. We hope you enjoyed the rest of the event, and thank you very much.
Thanks
Bye.
for the great event and for this interview.
Yes.
Bye.